I'm just a measly cannon fodder character in this world. Everyone around me seems to have a legendary golden finger cheat. When the male lead found out all 3 female leads were with me, he flew into a rage and came charging in to catch us red-handed. But I awakened the memories of the villainous supporting male lead just a second before he arrived. I quickly pulled up the 2nd female lead who was beneath me and told her to get dressed. Then I cut the handcuffs off the 3rd female lead locked in the bathroom and didn't forget to rescue the 4th female lead from the closet. By the time the male lead burst in with a crowd, all they saw was me playing mahjong with 3 women. I leaned against the door frame. After glancing at the people walking in, my eyes rested on the most stunning woman there. The female lead, Xia Xiao, the one set up as my fiancée. A queen of crazy jealousy. A high society socialite from Beijing. The main love interest for the heartthrob male lead, Song Jinian. Cold and manipulative at first, playing with hearts. But later, she the one desperately chasing her man to the ends of the earth. Bowing her head for the sake of love. All to serve the male lead properly. What a unique character description, under everyone's watchful eyes. I stared back with a complex expression. At my fiancé in name only. Xia Xiao's narrow eyes were fixed on me as well, with a faint, mysterious smile. So, this is what you look like. Her cold voice carried the thrill of a predator eyeing its prey, every single word. Jiang Chen, you are quite handsome, given her psychotic personality. This dark compliment about my looks probably means she wants to slice my face open, doesn't it? My heart skipped a beat. It looks like calling off the engagement should be moved up on the schedule immediately. Decision made. I gave a light smile. Miss Xia, you've brought quite a formidable crowd with you. Surely you didn't come just to say hello. However, before Xia Xiao could speak, the one sobbing next to her, the male lead, Song Jinian, acted first. He grabbed my hand. With a look of righteous innocence, he said, Jiang Chen, you've misunderstood Miss Xia. Someone downstairs mentioned you were with some women, and I was worried something had happened to you, so I intended to come check on things, and I happened to run into Miss Xia. It's all my fault. I listened to gossip and believed it to be true. You can hit me, scold me, or even kick me out. I deserve it. But please, don't blame Miss Xia. You two have only just gotten engaged. This relationship wasn't easy to establish. Don't let a small misunderstanding tear you apart. Song Jinian spoke through his tears, as if he were the one who had suffered a great injustice. Xia Xiao glanced at him with displeasure, but that look of hers seemed to make Song Jinian even more animated. Miss Xia, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have let my concern cause such a scene. I shouldn't have been so impulsive before clarifying the truth, which led to this misunderstanding for you. And now Jiang Chen is angry with you. I'm sorry. It's all on me. Please don't blame Jiang Chen. He's still so young. At those words, Xia Xiao narrowed her eyes. Why on earth would I blame Jiang Chen? Xia Xiao's meaningful gaze fell upon me. My eyelid twitched. Suddenly, her eyes widened. She took hold of my fingers. Right before everyone's eyes, she brought them to her lips and pressed a burning kiss against them. Her breath brushed against my knuckles. My fingertips involuntarily curled back. A second later, she gripped my hand. With a gentle tug, she pulled me to her side. Xia Xiao looked at me with a playful voice. Jiang Chen is still so young. What could he possibly have done wrong? She cast a knowing glance at the women seated at the table. As expected, she saw the tension written all over Ruin Qingshua's face. Xia Xiao let out a soft chuckle. She turned her head to Song Jinian. You're right, it is your fault. You were the one implying things to me, that something had happened with my fiancé, being all secretive and vague, trying your best to provoke me. I looked at Xia Xiao in complete shock. I doubted if I had even heard her correctly. Song Jinian's face froze. The next second, he quickly reverted to a pitiful expression and stammered, I don't know why Miss Xia is misunderstanding me, but I won't run away from my responsibility, as long as it calms you and my cousin down, and stops the arguing. You'll do whatever it takes. Xia Xiao gave what seemed like a soft laugh. Then why don't you just go die? A clap of thunder outside illuminated Song Jinian's pale face. The room fell deathly silent. A moment later, Xia Xiao laughed once more. Just a joke. Since Mr. Song has sincerely apologized, then it's best you move out of the Jiang house quickly. After all, Jiang Chen and I are engaged. The wedding plans need to be put on the schedule soon. Having a troublemaking outsider like you in the Jiang household, who knows what other disasters you might cause. The lightning flash lit up Xia Xiao's eyes. The whispering crowd made Song Jinian feel both ashamed and furious, having nowhere to hide his face. His face turned from red to white and back. Countless eyes were fixed on him. The atmosphere in the room was incredibly tense. Song Jinian looked aside while crying, and called out, Auntie! The next second, he clutched his chest. As if he couldn't breathe, he collapsed to his knees. Neon, has your asthma flared up again? Quickly, call a doctor. A woman's trembling voice rang out. Song Jinian fell to the floor. The room fell into absolute chaos. I watched this sudden development, feeling a bit bewildered. Only the woman holding me smiled mysteriously. her tone dark. This Mr. Song certainly knows how to pick the right moment to get sick. The next second, those deep, fox-like eyes looked into mine. Her gaze made a shiver run down my spine. I unconsciously pursed my lips. A slender, fair hand was placed against my cheek, tracing from my chin up to my earlobe. Wherever she touched felt itchy and numb. The woman leaned in close. Her warm breath brushed my earlobe, in a voice only the two of us could hear. "Darling, tell your wife, what kind of secret game were you playing?" My eyelid twitched violently. I, who was usually so good at deceiving women, found my words stumbling. Nothing. Amidst all the noise around us, my voice was still clearly heard by Xia Xiao. We were so close. My mint-scented breath also brushed against her face, warm and incredibly seductive. Our eyes met. Xia Xiao swallowed hard. The hand gripping my arm tightened slightly. The next second, a figure suddenly appeared in front of her. Ruan Qingshui's voice rang out, forcefully separating us. "Miss Xia, please have some self-respect." Xia Xiao straightened up. She looked at Ruan Qingshui pulling my wrist, in a cold voice. "Why should I have self-respect with my own fiancé?" Ruan Qingshui didn't back down. "Even people who are married can get divorced. Let alone you, Miss Xia and Jiang Chen. You're only engaged by word of mouth. If Miss Xia wants to claim ownership, wait until after the wedding. A wedding is definitely happening. No need for the great movie queen to worry." Xia Xiao looked at me. Her tone softened slightly. "Perhaps we should get married sooner." "Jiang Chen, you didn't do anything wrong that night? I might already be carrying your child." I was stunned, and Ruan Qingshui's pupils contracted. Her grip on my wrist only tightened further. I hurriedly asked the system about what happened that night. The system's mechanical voice responded, short and concise, "That is correct." I collected myself. The two women on my left and right were in a heated verbal battle, yet they were afraid of being overheard, so they kept their voices low as they argued, as the tension continued to mount. From the crowd surrounding Song Jinian in the distance, curious gazes were starting to shift toward us. My ears began to burn. I quickly pulled both of them. "Stop it, both of you!" Xia Xiao swallowed her remaining words. Ruan Qingshui gave my wrist a gentle squeeze, giving me a reassuring look. Just then, Song Jinian's symptoms stabilized. Mother Jiang lovingly stroked his head, then started walking toward us. But when her gaze fell upon my face, she couldn't help but frown, with a look of profound disgust. I blinked. I didn't know why. We were clearly strangers meeting after I transmigrated. But this look from Mother Jiang made me feel incredibly uncomfortable, resentful, sad, wanting to cry, as if something were squeezing my heart. However, it was only a fleeting glance. Mother Jiang's gaze shifted away from me, returning to her calm and elegant demeanor. "Miss Xia, Jiang Chen has acted quite recklessly. I apologize for his behavior. Please tell us what's on your mind, Miss Xia. We can discuss and negotiate anything." Clearly, in the eyes of outsiders, I hadn't done anything wrong. Yet Mother Jiang, my own biological mother, was belittling me without regard for the truth, even hinting that Xia Xiao could call off the engagement. A subtle light flashed in Xia Xiao's eyes. "Auntie, you must be joking. Jiang Chen and I are already engaged. We are going to be one family soon. From now on, you're like a mother to me. Please, just call me Xiao," seemingly not expecting such a response. Mother Jiang's words got caught in her throat. After all, everyone knows the Xia family's eldest daughter was never willing to go through with this marriage. It was because I had used schemes and tricks to make it happen. The status of our two families is worlds apart. This less than honorable attempt to marry up had caused Mother Jiang much stress from both inside and outside. She had thought after today's incident, the Jiang family would surely lose face, and this marriage would be lost as well. But unexpectedly, the Xia heiress' intention was actually to keep the engagement. Before Mother Jiang could process this, Ruan Qingshui took a step forward. "Auntie, there's a lot going on in the house today. You have so much on your plate already." She smiled brightly at Mother Jiang, with the obedient look of a younger relative. "You don't need to worry about things here. I'm here now. I'll take good care of Jiang Chen." Mother Jiang opened her mouth, but for a moment, she didn't know what to say. In the past, our family and the Ruins were close. Ruan Qingshui and I were childhood sweethearts, innocent childhood friends. But after a conflict occurred, the two families almost stopped interacting. How is it that both of them are clinging to me all of a sudden? Mother Jiang's gaze shifted downward, at Ruan Qingshui holding my wrist. She seemed a bit lost in thought. I struggled, and Ruan Qingshui let out a chuckle before releasing my arm, but she remained standing right next to me. She looked at Xia Xiao, her lips curling into a smirk. "Sorry, but Jiang Chen and I have been close since we were little. We grew up together. Jiang Chen was frail when he was young, so I was always the one holding his hand to and from school. Auntie, I'm sure you remember. I still haven't broken the habit after all these years." I just reached for Jiang Chen's wrist without thinking. "Miss Xia won't mind, will she?" Seeing her fake expression, Xia Xiao nearly ground her teeth to dust. "I don't mind," having received a satisfying answer. Ruin Kingshui chuckled. She looked at me and continued her sarcasm, not even caring when someone else holds her fiancé's hand. Miss Xia is truly generous, isn't she? Xia Xiao clenched her fists. She was at her limit, completely at her limit. In the distance, someone shouted, "He's awake! He's awake!" Song Jinian's voice calling for Auntie echoed through the air again. Mother Jiang quickly responded. She greeted Su Wanru at the mahjong table from afar, then nodded to the two young women beside me. But as for me, her own biological son, she didn't even spare me a glance before turning to leave, along with the scattering sound of footsteps. The crowd began to disperse. Song Jinian was clutching his chest, being supported by Mother Jiang, but he still looked back once. "Auntie, but Jiang Chen, don't mention him." Mother Jiang's cold, loveless voice rang out. Song Jinian tilted his head and gave me a mocking smirk. With the sound of the door slamming shut, the figures vanished. The room was silent as the grave. There was a strange sense of peace. Xia Xiao followed me back to the mahjong table. Only now did she seem to notice the person at the table. She looked at Su Wanru and spoke. "Wanru, you're here too?" The Xia and Su families are longtime friends. The Xias are in politics, while the Xius are business tycoons. Decades of closeness and mutual support. The family elders even have marriage ties. The two families are inseparable. Xia Xiao is 2 years younger than Su Wanru. Both have been exceptional since childhood. They are prominent figures in the upper-class elite. They share a certain mutual understanding. They can't be called strangers, but rather rare, good friends in that social circle. Aren't you usually uninterested in these games? What gave you the urge to play around today? Just killing time with the youth? Su Wanru laid her tile face down. Her jade-like fingers reflected the room's light. Her beautiful, cold face remained expressionless. Xia Xiao raised an eyebrow. "Want to play around?" Su Wanru gave no reaction. Instead, Ruan Kingshui's clear voice rang out. "Jiang Chen, do you want to keep playing? You can take my seat." I shook my head like a rattle. I basically didn't even know how to play, if I sat down. Within a single round, tonight's charade would be completely exposed. I refused flatly. "I don't want to play. It's boring. I'm going downstairs for a stroll." The moment our eyes met, Ruin Kingshui realized something. She covered for me. "I happen to be hungry anyway. Go tell someone to bring me some food." I nodded, preparing to make my escape. Suddenly, a familiar cold voice came from the side. "Where do you think you're going?" I looked up at Su Wanru. Her phoenix-like eyes under the lamp glowed with a pale amber hue. The small mole on her nose tip shifted in the play of light and shadow. Her red lips curled slightly, with an expression that brooked no argument. "You were the one who gathered everyone. You can't just sneak away. Sit down." Outside, the rain was beginning to taper off. The room was unnervingly quiet. Several pairs of eyes were fixed on me simultaneously. I forced a dry smile. Ironically, Su Wanru was watching me with a playful smirk, as if she were waiting to see what I would choose. After all, barely 10 minutes ago, I had sworn an oath of devotion, stating with an admiring face that I was secretly in love with her. She was clearly testing me. I took a step forward and suddenly realized something was wrong. This old fox, Su Wanru, had she already figured out I was lying to her? Is that why she's putting me to the test? "Jiang Chen, sit over here." Ruin Kingshui's cheerful voice rang out as she pulled a chair over to her side. Xia Xiao's voice was calm as she spoke. My fiancé will obviously be sitting with me. That white, ornately carved chair was being yanked back and forth between them. Neither of them showed any sign of letting go. Their competitive gazes clashed in the air. Ruin Kingshui's almond eyes curved slightly, but her words were like daggers. Speaking of which, the Xia heiress was so disdainful she didn't even attend the engagement party, and now she's suddenly in a rush to chase after our Jiang Chen. One wonders what her true intentions are. Xia Xiao's hand on the chair back suddenly tightened. She took the opportunity to look at me, seeing me staring at her with such concern. Xia Xiao's heart felt like it was about to melt. Last time, it had only been a hasty glance. Those noisy people in the room, the shredded rubber items scattered across the floor, the screaming and the sobbing, the effects of the drug hadn't worn off. Xia Xiao had a splitting headache. On top of that, she'd been framed at a private party. She was beyond irritated. She hadn't been in the mood to even look at my face. She'd assumed I was just a man like any other, just another guy. Having been set up, she used every bit of strength to grab her clothes and kick the door open to leave. Then, the Zhang family had come knocking. It was obvious she'd been drugged and framed, but the incident had caused such a public scene, there was really no other way around it. Xia Xiao was forced into the engagement by her grandfather, until this very day. She didn't even know what her fiancé looked like. Xia Xiao stared intently at me. An uncontrollable gleam of excitement flashed in her eyes. So, her poor, weak, and pathetic little fiancé was probably madly in love with her. That must be why he summoned the courage to approach her. He appeared so innocent, timid, and shy. He surely would have blushed just buying that kind of medicine, perhaps even tearing those condom wrappers open. Had turned his entire face beet red. Too bad she had drunk so much that night. She had absolutely no recollection of it. Otherwise, she might have seen him trembling, piteously calling her wife. He would have slowly taken her hand, gathered all his courage, and confessed his feelings with a red face. telling her he'd liked her for a long time. Xia Xiao imagined it all, and a look of delight flashed in her eyes. Her voice, usually cold and detached, softened slightly. It carried a hint of apology and coaxing. I wasn't good to you before, Jiang Chen. Your wife will make up for everything from now on. She was clearly just his fiancée, yet she already referred to herself as his wife. The room's atmosphere suddenly chilled, but I just slowly blinked and then pretended to be embarrassed. Secretly, I complained to the system. She's quite the flirt. Seeing that I remained silent, Xia Xiao's gaze toward me became even bolder. She had only said the word wife, and her little fiancé was already this flustered. What if she pulled him into her arms and kissed him later? Clack. Something fell to the floor. Her train of thought was interrupted. Su Wanrao's flat voice rang out. That's enough. Ruan Qingshui was also irritated. Will you stop? You're not even married yet. Why all this husband and wife talk? A smile played at the corners of Xia Xiao's mouth as she looked at her frustrated rival, but I quickly looked up, meeting the gaze of Fu Yuqing, who had been silent all this time. Fu Yuqing had a very low profile. Only her unusually dark eyes were quietly staring at my face. I quickly pulled out a chair, my voice sounding a bit panicked, as if I'd been teased, as if I were hiding from embarrassment. I think you'll just team up with classmate Fu. This suggestion met with no opposition. After all, among those at the table, only Fu Yuqing seemed plain and unremarkable. She didn't pose any threat. The thin tiles were dealt out. Several slender hands flipped them over one by one. I stared blankly at the tiles on the table. My mind was a complete void, thinking about how to rig the game. Suddenly, Fu Yuqing's body beside me stiffened. Her fingers on the tiles also froze. I tilted my head. What is it? But for some reason, as soon as those words left my mouth, Fu Yuqing's movements became even more rigid. She stared down at the tile in her hand. Her voice was slightly hoarse. Nothing. Fu Yuqing's long eyelashes cast a shadow, hiding the shame and fury in her eyes. A soft, itchy sensation was creeping up her thigh bit by bit. It felt like someone's fingertips were teasing her, like a nimble little snake intentionally playing with her. With so many women in the room, including his own fiancée, he didn't have any restraint at all? Did he think he could enchant Xia Xiao and Su Wanrao at the same time? Even Ruan Qingshui, who had cut ties with him, was now rushing back to be his sycophant. Did he really think he was that irresistible? Did he think that with a simple snap of his fingers, she would be just like those other women, rushing to be his lapdog? The slender, soft fingertips glided toward her inner thigh. Fu Yuqing was both embarrassed and furious. It feels even more different than when she was whipped before. Back then, I didn't even treat her as a human being. She would only feel resentment. But now, shamelessly using the table as a shield in front of everyone to deliberately tempt her. What is this? Is this a new way of tormenting her he just thought of? Or a new idea to torture her? Does he feel that making her kneel and whipping her isn't enough? Or does he feel that Xia Xiao alone cannot satisfy him, so he has to find another lover to serve him together? The numbing, itchy sensation continued to spread. Fu Yuqing's body trembled. Her breathing became several degrees heavier, yet I still acted as if I didn't understand anything. Raising my handsome face, I deliberately asked her, Fu Yuqing, are you not feeling well? As soon as the words left my mouth, 3 gazes like torches shone straight at her. Fu Yuqing felt like her ears were about to catch fire, with so many people watching. But my hand didn't retract at all. Not only that, the range of motion became increasingly larger, more and more excessive, as if challenging her limits. It was as if I wanted to do things in front of so many people that would make her lose face. Fu Yuqing's body stiffened. Her raspy voice tried to maintain its stability. It's nothing, I'm fine. Xia Xiao's narrow fox-like eyes squinted. She stared toward us, a dark light flickering in the depths of her eyes. You really don't seem to be doing well. I took the initiative to take the cards from her hand. Maybe you should go see a doctor. Let's stop playing for now. Fu Yuqing tried to endure, staring intently at my fingertips. She felt that tonight I was truly a male incubus. Otherwise, how could even the simple act of holding a single card, when done by me, have a kind of indescribable allure, as if deliberately hinting at her, intentionally making one hallucinate? A boom resonated from outside the window. The loud thunder pulled Fu Yuqing's thoughts back. Almost immediately, the numbing itch moved across her thigh again. Fu Yuqing suddenly looked up, staring at my fingers holding the cards. Wait, something's wrong. If it wasn't me touching her under the table, then who on earth was touching her now? Fu Yuqing held her breath, while taking the card back from my hand. It's really fine, young master, she said while quietly glancing down. Under the table, the feather ornament on my suit was swaying with my movements, brushing bit by bit against her leg. Fu Yuqing didn't know if it was shame or anger, or the disappointment of thinking she was being teased. Fu Yuqing gripped the cards tightly, her ears turning even redder. Watching them play a few rounds, I made an excuse to slip into the restroom, taking the chance to see if I could complete the mission. After all, if I truly dared to fool around with everyone in that situation, even without my fiancé taking action, I'm afraid the grand villainess Su Wanru would be the first to give a cold smile and then gloomily cut me down. In the lavish restroom, I dried my hands. Seeing Su Wanru suddenly appear, my eyes lit up. I was just agonizing over the mission. Isn't she delivering herself right to my doorstep now? The next second, the one wearing the black lace dress, Su Wanru, fully came into my view. Her beautiful face appeared under the light, lips thin and red, a pair of phoenix eyes that were too cold, completely an unreachable flower on a high mountain. But no one knew that the expressionless Su Wanru had a soft heart. In that moment when our eyes met, the unconcealed joy in my eyes had satisfied her. Does he like me that much upon seeing me? So much that even though he agreed to keep his distance, the moment he saw me, he still couldn't help but smile with his eyes, as if as soon as she appeared, those eyes were immediately lit up. The strings of her heart seemed to be lightly plucked. Su Wanru unconsciously approached me, stroking my chest. I immediately urged the system. Does this count as fooling around? The villain points remained steady at 0. Even this doesn't count? I acted innocent and increased the distance from Su Wanru, not forgetting to bite back. Su Wanru, you're hugging me? I looked at Su Wanru's face, my voice very soft. Why are you hugging me? The restroom was completely silent. Su Wanru didn't argue, nor did she push me away. She even unusually leaned down to press closer. I looked up with a bit of surprise. Su Wanru's gaze fixed intently on my face. After a moment, she suddenly pulled back. It turned out there was a piece of paper stuck to my head. Young Master Jiang truly distinguishes between close and distant. Su Wanru looked up at me, seemingly waiting for my explanation. I didn't call her wife. I looked into Su Wanru's eyes. Su Wanru, in my teenage fantasies, I should have been calling you wife. Her heart took a heavy hit. Those elegant phoenix eyes widened slightly. Su Wanru, you were the one who hated me first. Su Wanru looked at my lips, almost unable to look away, but then she snapped back as her heart suddenly raced. Her voice was strained. You're lying to me. Those phoenix eyes regained their sharpness. If you really liked me that much, why did you trap Xiao, only to end up in an alliance with the Xia family? So it's not that you like me, you just want to escape some responsibility, so you deliberately pretend to like me, just to win my sympathy. As Su Wanru spoke, she increased the distance from me. She must have been confused, clearly knowing she shouldn't believe me, yet still unable to stop her gaze from falling on me, as if she had been drugged. This unfamiliar state made Su Wanru uncomfortable, forcing her to try her best not to let her composure crumble, but seeing the heated gazes falling on me, she couldn't suppress the strange feelings in her heart. She even found a clumsy excuse, coming to the restroom just to see me, and using this jealous tone to say such embarrassing things. She's really smart. I complained to the system. What if I kiss her right now? Would she believe me? The mechanical voice of the system sounded. The grand villainess keeps herself pure, staying chaste for the male lead. Any contact with the opposite sex is a defilement to her, so you'd better not do that. I thought for a moment, then grabbed Su Wanru's arm, looking especially aggrieved. If I didn't drug her, would I have drugged you? Su Wanru. No one wants to lose face in front of the person they like. You already hate me enough. I don't want you to think I'm any lowlier. The trembling end of my sentence carried a hint of bitterness, like biting into a green apple on a branch in spring. Su Wanru's brow furrowed. I walked out without looking back. A single tear fell onto the back of my hand. Its heat was almost scalding. Su Wanru froze on the spot, staring at that tear. It was for the best. She comforted herself. Her best friend's fiancé, a mistaken and ill-fated connection, she should have let go in the first place. But in the next second, my strong arms tightly embraced her waist. Su Wanru's movement stiffened. Su Wanru, I will forget you. Please don't tease me anymore. Her breath suddenly caught and a bitter taste rose in her throat. The woman's phoenix eyes flickered with confusion and struggle. Footsteps outside were followed by the sound of knocking. My nominal fiancé, Xia Xiao. The voice of her longtime best friend came from outside, bringing with it an approaching danger. Jiang Chen, are you in there? I suddenly increased the distance. Perhaps due to the tension, my voice also began to tremble. The words I had just spoken were cut off. I instinctively took 2 steps back, my mouth covered by the woman's hand. A pair of moist eyes were exposed, glistening with unshed tears. Su Wanru's breathing was somewhat unstable. She covered my mouth with one hand. Su Wanru's dark phoenix eyes were deep, as if she herself had only just realized that she had committed an act against morality. While her best friend was calling from outside, she was holding the other's fiancé in her arms, even covering his mouth. Under the light, 2 shadows printed on the floor, almost overlapping. Only Xia Xiao's voice echoed in from the door. Jiang Chen, I heard you talking. Is there someone else inside? What's wrong with you? The knock-knock on the door carried an urgent rush. I said nothing. I didn't struggle at all. There wasn't even a look of doubt. Su Wanru acted as if she didn't hear the voice outside, or as if she heard but pretended not to. Her voice was very soft, speaking at a volume only the 2 of us could hear. Send her away. We need to talk. I nodded obediently with a trusting expression. Su Wanro's hand on my cheek loosened, revealing red lips that were even more plump from being pressed. Su Wanro's eyes looked at me gloomily. Involuntary panic laced my voice. There's no one. Miss Xia, I'm feeling a bit unwell. I'll come find you in a little while. The person outside was silent for a moment, but very quickly that familiar low voice sounded again, carrying a certain kind of concern. Jiang Chen, did you eat something wrong and get a stomachache? Do you need anything? I'll have someone bring it. A concern that seemed seamless, yet the attitude was firm, without the slightest intention of leaving. My eyelashes trembled a few times. This time I was truly panicked. What a coincidence. These two, one inside and one outside, both came looking for me. I had just finished deceiving my fiancé who was catching me in the act, only to go and sell a sob story to the grand villainess. The mission progress had just budged a little. Before I could even catch my breath, Death's scythe was hanging over my head again. I unconsciously pursed my lips, hesitating on what excuse to use to send her away. A shadow fell. Su Wanru pressed close to my face and asked, "Do you like her?" I turned my head in panic. My soft lips almost invisibly brushed across Su Wanru's cheek. Su Wanru was stunned for a moment, her whole body as if frozen. This time she quickly recovered her composure, continuing her unfinished sentence. Her intentionally lowered tone carried a hint of raspiness, sounding to others like a vibrating string, possessing an indescribable charm. She seems to care about you a lot, and is even engaged to you. If nothing unexpected happens, you'll marry, hold hands for a lifetime, and grow old together. You really should like her. It was clearly a narrative tone, yet for some reason, Su Wanru could hear from her own words a trace of jealousy. Su Wanru lowered her eyes, waiting for my answer. I looked at her innocently. Su Wanru's fingers twitched slightly as she thought absent-mindedly. Her best friend's romantic luck had always been flourishing, even without her. Marrying anyone is still marrying. Detected a change in villainous value. The progress bar moved forward slowly. I raised my eyes, intending to slip away, like a heartless mission-completing machine. I expertly lowered my eyes and said self-deprecatingly, "You're right, Su Wanru. I really should like my wife." Those calm phoenix eyes suddenly contracted. I seemed to be hurt, the corners of my eyes slightly red. A tear shattered at the edge of my eye and spread through my pupil, as if through a thin layer of mist. I somewhat decisively pushed the person in my arms away, looking at Su Wanru with those slightly red eyes, yet speaking loudly to the person outside the door. "I'm feeling much better, Miss Xia. Could you please pour me a cup of hot water? I want to warm my stomach." The person outside happily agreed. Along with the receding footsteps, I turned and placed my hand on the doorknob, turning my head back to say, "It was you who wanted me not to like you, Su Wanru. It was you who couldn't see my feelings. You even wanted to break my hand. It was you who doubted my love for you, constantly testing me. Did you think that because I like you, I'm easy to bully?" My voice was very soft, carrying a certain vagueness. "I accept your blessing. I will grow old with Xia Xiao and be happy for a lifetime. Are you satisfied now?" Su Wanru was a bit dazed. She felt that the things happening tonight were all too strange. It seemed that since meeting me, everything had quietly slipped from her control. She clearly hated the type of impulsive young master like me the most. But for some reason, even though I had done more excessive things to her, tonight she felt that I wasn't detestable. She even felt that I was a bit pitiable. Pitiable when my eyes were filled with tears, pitiable when she covered my mouth. Just like now, looking at her with an expression on the verge of tears was even more pitiable. She clearly should have just brushed me off and left, but for some reason, she still stood rooted to the spot. She heard her own voice echo in the air, carrying a both familiar and unfamiliar warmth, apologizing to me. "Jiang Chen, I didn't mean that. That's exactly what you meant. After all, you already hated me anyway. You fundamentally don't like me. You find me an eyesore. Just appearing in your sight is already detestable. I'm already engaged. Su Wanru, I don't want to like you anymore. I will marry and go to bed with Xia Xiao. I will hold her and tell her I like her. And then have a bunch of kids." My unfinished voice was drowned in the air. A familiar scent enveloped me. I couldn't believe it and opened my eyes wide. The bright light piercing through the woman's hair illuminated me and left me a bit dazed. Su Wanru's breathing was frantic. She restrained herself and gave me a very light kiss. "Don't use those words to provoke me. It's my fault." I spoke without thinking. My eyes were wide and round. Su Wanru let out a sigh. She couldn't pretend to be tough in front of these eyes, so she had to soften her heart. "Break off the engagement with her, Jiang Chen. Xiao is heartless. She is definitely not a good person. The two of you aren't compatible." I blinked. Su Wanru's heart tightened. "Break off the engagement with her, Jiang Chen. He'll handle the rest. I won't let any bad blood arise between your two families. Being with someone you don't love is miserable. You're still so young, you shouldn't fall into the abyss just because of anger. Like caring for a junior who has gone astray completely without any ulterior motive. If she wasn't holding me so firmly, kneading my lips, even kissing me so frantically, with eyes harboring a burning desire, I'm afraid I would have really believed her." A question mark wildly flashed in my mind, asking the system what she meant. Wasn't my engagement to Xia Xiao meant to facilitate her pursuing Song Jinian? Why is she helping me break the engagement? The system looked at the taskbar and explained seriously. Hello, host. The male lead at this point in time, Song Jinian and Su Wanru have little interaction and don't like each other yet. But in this world, the bond between the male lead and key characters is unbreakable. You're just a part of their game, so rest easy. After the system's comfort, I felt at ease. The powerful thumping of the woman's heart echoed in my ears. For some reason, being in this embrace gave me a momentary peace. This world seemed much friendlier to me. No sound of squeaking rats, no rustling of crawling cockroaches, no screeching of nails on ceramic tiles, no dampness of the humid weather, no smell of moldy sawdust. Even if I'm the villainous male lead causing trouble everywhere, I feel this world isn't so detestable. I just let my mind go blank, secretly leaning into her chest for a bit, relaxing completely, and reaching out to hug the woman back. But the woman holding me suddenly stiffened. Her heart couldn't help but soften, and she gently held me like a fragile porcelain doll. The elegant and beautiful woman lowered her phoenix eyes, strange ripples rising in her heart, only to hold me even tighter a moment later. My little fan is so pitiable, Su Wanro thought. After all, he has lonely liked me for so many years. So from now on, to make amends, she must quickly help him break the engagement and treat him twice as well. All right, my fiancé is about to arrive. I pushed her away, seemingly also realizing our inappropriate behavior. Ms. Su, those words of yours? I'll just consider them. The moment I faced those deep eyes, the words in my mouth faltered for a moment. Immediately losing my nerve, I will think it over carefully. I was a bit afraid. I was afraid the grand villainess would flip and then erase me from existence. Luckily, Su Wanru had let go of me and gently tucked the stray strands of hair behind my ear. Su Wanru curled her lips and instructed me, if you're going to break the engagement sooner or later, then stop calling Xia Xiao wife. Wife, my foot. Which ear did she use to hear me call Xia Xiao wife? The moment I pressed down on the doorknob, I was still grumbling in my heart. With a creak, the room door opened a crack. I peeked outside secretly, confirming no one was there before turning back, showing my usual obedient face. It's not convenient for us to go out together. Could you come out in a little while? Without even waiting for Su Wanro's agreement, I slammed the door shut. Xia Xiao's smiling voice suddenly rang out. I jumped as if I had a guilty conscience, quickly turning around, facing Xia Xiao's deep almond eyes. She asked if the doctor was ready and if I needed her to help me over there. As she spoke, she reached out her arm. Xia Xiao's skin was very pale. I quickly glanced at it and shook my head. I wasn't quite sure in that hurried moment just now if Xia Xiao had seen Su Wanru in the room, but this was no place to linger. I'm much better, Miss Xia. Thank you for the tea. I can manage on my own. I reached out to take the steaming cup, but Xia Xiao's fox-like eyes curved in a smile as she suddenly grabbed my fingertips, leading them a short distance to gently touch the steam rising from the cup. Swallowing up every inch of my finger, the enveloped finger curled slightly, yet Xia Xiao maintained her gaze without moving. I looked at her, finally realizing why she wouldn't let me take the cup, so I thanked her very sincerely. Thank you, Miss Xia. It's quite hot. Those cunning fox eyes of Xia Xiao had a moment of depth, drawn in until she couldn't look away. Her pitiable and weak little fiancé, to some extent, completely fit her taste. Handsome, slender, pitiable, even his way of acting spoiled suited her preferences perfectly. I didn't know what she was thinking. I just pulled my hand back after being hit by the heat. I was wary of Su Wanro behind the door, not daring to find a chance to continue completing the mission. Can we talk somewhere else, Miss Xia? Xia Xiao let out a chuckle. Zhang Chen and I are already engaged. Calling me miss, he sounds a bit distant. After all, we'll be getting married sooner or later. Zhang Chen, you can call me wife. My pupils contracted in shock. He Xiao laughed again. You're still young. I'm 3 years older than you. You can also call me sister. I chose a middle ground, and spoke tentatively. Sister Xiao. He Xiao hummed in response. She didn't let go of my hand at all. Little brother Jiang Chen. I was speechless. Half an hour ago she was catching me in the act. Now suddenly, it's all sister and brother. Isn't this a bit too intimate? He Xiao and I were outside, separated by a door. Su Wanru was inside, eavesdropping. Su Wanru is older and full of schemes. Her mind is constantly plotting. I was afraid that talking more with He Xiao would make Su Wanru restless. So while pulling He Xiao's sleeve, I tried to lead her out, but just as I lifted my foot, He Xiao pulled me back, keeping me in place. Zhang Chen, you need to explain what happened that night. I didn't react in time. What story? He Xiao narrowed her eyes and smiled at me. Her voice was at a moderate volume, just enough for someone a few steps away to hear clearly. That night we both got drunk and that accident happened. I was very satisfied. It felt wonderful. My mind went blank. Why did she suddenly bring this up? We were just discussing if the water was hot. Now we've suddenly jumped to this. Isn't her train of thought a bit too erratic? I'm glad you're satisfied. Let's go now. I hurriedly pulled her away from there. I didn't see the dark glint in her fox-like eyes. She was looking toward the tightly closed restroom door. A mocking smile curled the corners of her lips, filled with pure contempt. When we arrived at the banquet hall, it was almost 8 o'clock. The moment He Xiao walked into the hall with her arm in mine, I clearly saw the shocked expressions of everyone around us. The crowd surged forward like a rising tide, bringing with them undisguised flattery. If the system hadn't already told me about my character setting, judging by this level of popularity, I might have actually thought I was the heartthrob male lead of this book. He Xiao seemed very interested in me. She would occasionally ask me about things from the past. I didn't dare to answer too quickly. I could only respond with the system's guidance, speaking slowly. I probably looked a bit dim-witted. Maybe He Xiao also felt I was a bit slow, so she drove away the people coming to offer me drinks. And despite my repeated refusals, she saw me to my car with a hint of regret. The driver expertly steered onto the highway. The Jiang family villa is in Zhenyuan, a secluded villa with a fresh environment. I got out of the car quietly, holding a black umbrella. Guided by the system, I walked with frequent pauses, turning several times. Clearly, it was my first time here, yet for some reason, every scene here felt strangely familiar to me. Sometimes, even before the system spoke, I already knew where to turn. A servant took my umbrella. I headed up to the 3rd floor alone. I mistakenly went to the spot with the best light in the east wing. This was the room of the protagonist, Song Jinian. In other words, your cousin's room. I frowned slightly and followed the system's directions forward. I don't even know why. I ended up standing right in front of that door. It must be the influence of this body. Entering the room, I kicked off my shoes. Standing barefoot on the floor, the wood grain of the floor mingled with the rug. The alternating sensations of soft and hard reached me. I finally felt a sense of reality with my feet on the ground. Warm yellow light enveloped the entire room at this moment. My heart suddenly softened. My whole body relaxed. I tossed my jacket onto the sofa and headed straight to the bathroom. The water from the constant temperature bath wrapped around me. A magical sensation, both illusory and familiar. When I stepped out of the bathroom, it was already half an hour later. On the small balcony just a few steps away, Fu Yuqing was typing on her laptop. I didn't know what she was writing. A question mark appeared in my mind, and in the next moment, Fu Yuqing seemed to sense something. She looked up toward me. The moment our eyes met, I saw from Fu Yuqing's delicate face a look of strange astonishment. She stared at me intently. I snapped back to reality. What are you doing? Fu Yuqing finally recovered herself. Her hands left the keyboard. Swiftly, she stood up and walked straight toward me. Then came the familiar procedure. She presented the rattan cane and knelt on the floor. I came back too late. I haven't finished your group assignment yet. I'm sorry, young master, after soaking in the bath for so long. My head was a bit foggy. I looked down at Fu Yuqing. Her thick lashes cast shadows beneath her eyes, like the shade of a dense tree branch. I gave a soft "oh," acknowledging her. Fu Yuqing's fingers tightened as she knelt. Her dark pupils peered at me through her black hair. There it was again, the feeling of being watched by a venomous snake. I sobered up a little. Continue tomorrow. Fu Yuqing stared at me without blinking. I had to explain further. It's too late. Staying up isn't good for you. Finish it tomorrow. In the next moment, Fu Yuqing lowered her eyes. The malice in her gaze was truly repulsive. Not this line again. Half a month ago, I was just like this, hypocritically showing her mercy in front of others, saying it was too late, that health was important, and all those platitudes. But once the door was closed, the whip fell without mercy, using the most venomous words to humiliate her, calling her a lowly animal, telling her that her bedridden grandmother should just hurry up and die, one way in public, another in private. 1 second pretending to be generous with her, the next smashing things in a frenzy. Now, facing those familiar words of comfort, Fu Yuqing could already predict what would happen next, but she only curled her lip. A cold, malicious smile bloomed in her heart. Sooner or later, she would kill him. Why aren't you getting up? My voice rang out. The wounds on your body haven't healed yet. Go and apply some medicine. Fu Yuqing's eyelids trembled. A look of I knew it appeared on her face. This man. Underneath this mocking feeling. For some unknown reason. She still couldn't suppress a sense of disappointment. The person with crinkled eyes. The radiant smile. The man who had wrapped her tightly in a towel. It truly was just a dream she had imagined. I was forever cruel, forever ruthless. Fu Yuqing stood up decisively and quickly walked in another direction. A moment later, she brought an exquisite starfish-shaped bottle and asked me, "Will the young master apply it, or should I do it myself?" I was originally a bit sleepy, but the swollen, torn wounds on Fu Yuqing's body were truly horrifying. Some spots had already scabbed over. The friction from her clothes had started the bleeding again, making that patch of skin flush a deep red. Although I didn't cause any of this, now that I've transmigrated here, I have to clean up this mess. I reached out and took the bottle. Let me do it. I don't know what kind of antiseptic this is. Why is it in such a cute bottle? The outside was even decorated with little diamonds. It didn't look like professional medical supplies at all. I twisted the cap, Just as I loosened it slightly, a pungent smell hit me, assaulting my nostrils. It was so strong it made my eyes water. I asked her, dazed, "What is this?" A mocking smile tugged at Fu Yuqing's lips. "Extracted chili essence. The ingredients are sourced from India, typically used to make pepper spray." She leaned in slightly, asking me gently, as if she were the one pitying me, "Are you all right, young master?" Tears streamed down my face uncontrollably. Chili essence? Damn it! And kept in this extremely misleading bottle. What on earth was the original owner thinking? Was he mentally ill? I tightened the cap back on, and asked Fu Yuqing, "Weren't you getting medicine? Why did you give me this? Why must the young master ask when he already knows?" "I already know? Just get some iodine or Yunnan Bayao or something. You're injured." My words came to a sudden halt. After a long pause, I spoke softly, asking her in disbelief, "Whenever you were hurt before, did I always apply this to you?" Fu Yuqing looked at me and let out a laugh. She seemed too indifferent to answer. The smile didn't reach her eyes. Creepy crawly shivers snaked up my spine. She couldn't pinpoint the source of this horror. Was it because of Fu Yuqing's gaze? Or the thought of using chili essence on an open wound? My head felt like it was buzzing with bees. The cruelty I had imagined was things like withholding food, delaying wages, or verbal abuse, or making her run endless errands. But it turns out real cruelty is beating someone until their skin is torn and bloody, leaving not a single inch of unscarred flesh, bright red wounds, raw and exposed, then forcing them to kneel under a scalding shower. And even when the water is turned off, new forms of torment are already waiting for her, like this chili essence in my hand, or endless other tortures. I looked down at the starfish bottle gripped in my hand. Then, under Fu Yuqing's calm gaze, I quickly took a few steps forward. With a thud, I tossed it into the trash. There are 100 ways to bully someone. There's no need to be this inhumane, even if it were a stray dog being cruelly whipped until its skin was raw, and having hot water poured over it, while applying chili essence. I couldn't just stand by and watch, and at least a puppy knows how to howl, but Fu Yuqing only knows how to be silent. I let out a long breath. Only then did I realize Fu Yuqing had been staring at me the whole time. I dusted off my hands, as if afraid something had stuck to them, until I had dusted off the non-existent residue. I reached out intending to touch her wound, but then I feared it would hurt her. I spoke up and apologized. "I'm sorry, I went too far. I won't bully you like that anymore, so don't be afraid." Fu Yuqing's eyes flickered slightly. Her dark pupils slowly scanned across my handsome face. Fu Yuqing slowly raised her hand. Her palm felt warm. Many servants had gone to help with the Jiang family banquet tonight. The house was very quiet. Furthermore, it was raining outside. Even if one truly wanted to kill and hide the body, it would be very easy to conceal the traces. Fu Yuqing raised her hand inch by inch and placed it on my neck. Her red lips curled slightly, thinking happily. Press down, tighten. Watching me struggle like a dying fish, then snapping my neck gently. Fu Yuqing's long, thick lashes cast a shadow, hiding the emotions at the bottom of her eyes. I looked at her, not understanding why Fu Yuqing suddenly wanted to touch my neck. The villainy points changed. I couldn't help but curl my lips. My mood was excellent. I didn't stop Fu Yuqing's actions, just kept looking at her asking, "What's wrong? Is there something dirty on me?" There was a moment. A scream erupted in Fu Yuqing's mind. Malice began to boil once more. "It's a petal, young master," Fu Yuqing's voice rang out flatly. She then removed a blood-red rose petal and held it before me. I didn't know what I said, but I gently touched her palm. The act of picking up the rose petal felt like the soft tail of some small animal, lightly scratching there. Fu Yuqing felt an indescribable itch in her heart. She looked at me and suddenly curled her lips slightly. How interesting. She had changed her mind. With such a handsome face and such a wicked heart, yet he deliberately acts like a hypocritical good person. I shouldn't kill him so easily. Fu Yuqing smiled at me. "Young master, you should get some rest." The smile on her lips did not reach her eyes. Her deep eyes glittered with a dark excitement. Even her mind felt as if it had been zapped by electricity, screaming a certain thought. She wouldn't kill him. She should play with him, make him pay for what he's done. Late at night, I sank into the soft blankets and fell into a deep sleep. I started dreaming again. My parents' faces in the dream were blurry, holding my hand. I was wearing soft overalls, skipping along while swinging my parents' hands. My face was full of happy smiles, the sound of cicadas, the sound of music. My mother, in a cheongsam, leaned down to kiss my cheek. I didn't know what she said, but I could clearly feel it. Both my parents loved me very much. I swayed within that blissful dream. Every step felt like treading on colorful clouds of cotton candy, while just a few steps away, Fu Yuqing was not asleep. She was sleeping on that small, soft sofa, wrapped in my blanket. The room was very dark. One could only vaguely see the silhouette of the person on the bed. Fu Yuqing watched that direction quietly for a while, looking into the darkness before her with a dazed expression. Does he really want to become a better person? Fu Yuqing curled her lip in the dark. A trace of tenderness flickered in her eyes. At our first meeting, I was like the bright moonlight, pulling her out of the abyss. She thought she would spend her whole life repaying me when she grew up. But who would have thought that at our second meeting? I seemed to have become a completely different person. Or maybe he felt that kind of concern. The childish games of mountain kids was just too boring, and thus his true face was revealed. The next morning, I was having breakfast downstairs. Suddenly, I heard a slight noise behind me, followed by a familiar voice. "Auntie, please be careful. The floor here is a bit slippery." I tilted my head to look. Outside the dining room door, Song Jinian was taking a towel from a servant, vigorously wiping a small puddle in front of Mother Jiang. "Jinian, there are so many servants in the house. You don't need to do this yourself. Please, stand up." "Auntie, servants work for money. They're always careless. You just had a fall not too long ago. You've just finally recovered. If you were to slip and fall here again, it would be a major problem." "I care about you, Auntie," Song Jinian said as he continued trying to wipe the floor. "I don't feel at ease with anyone else taking care of you. They say it takes 100 days to heal a broken bone. We should still be a little more careful." Song Jinian looked up and gave a dutiful smile. At the mention of the fall, the smile in Mother Jiang's eyes quickly faded. She sighed and helped Song Jinian up. This child. I watched for a moment, then lowered my head and continued eating. Song Jinian was clearly acting, but there's no such thing as a perfect male lead in this world. Everyone has their own calculations. As long as Song Jinian can let me be. As the villainous supporting male, I also don't intend to get in his way. The pork and century egg congee was cooked until very soft. I had just scooped up a spoonful when I heard a loud thud. The sound of porcelain slamming onto the table echoed. "Eat, eat, eat, all you do is eat." Quite different from her previous gentleness, Mother Jiang's voice was very cold, laced with mockery. "Last night, your cousin had an asthma attack because of you. Don't you feel any remorse? How on earth are you managing to swallow your food? Do you have no conscience?" I looked up to face Mother Jiang's ice-cold gaze. This look wasn't that of a mother looking at her son. It was as if she were looking at an enemy. I don't know Mother Jiang, but for some reason, my heart began to ache sharply. The physiological reaction was more honest than the body itself. My throat tightened as I called out, "Mother." Tears immediately welled up. Breathing became a bit difficult. My heart felt as if something were squeezing it tightly. "I am not your mother. A country bumpkin like me, with no talent. A housewife who only knows her husband and children. How could I be worthy of being the mother to the great young Master Jiang?" Mother Jiang's voice was frigid. "That Empress Dowager of the He family is your mother. Just wait until you marry into the He family. Our bond as mother and son will also come to an end." My heart hurt more and more. I unconsciously placed my hand over my chest. "Auntie, please don't be angry. I only have one younger brother, Jiang Chen. And you only have one son, Jiang Chen. We are one family. It's best if we're harmonious. Besides, I believe Jiang Chen didn't do it on purpose. How could he not have done it on purpose?" Mother Jiang's voice suddenly rose, carrying an undisguisable pain. "Was it not on purpose when he pushed me down the stairs? Or when he hid from me? That your uncle had a mistress? Was that not on purpose? Ginny, and you saw it too. What did he say back then?" Mother Jiang's expression was agitated. Tears were almost ready to fall. He spoke to his own biological mother. He said that being a housewife had rotted my brain, that I couldn't keep up with modern developments. He said everyone is equal. He said I was prejudiced against the mistress, that I was just an old fossil, when the mistress's dog went crazy. To avoid it, he pushed me directly, causing me to roll down 3 flights of stairs. I lay on that hospital bed for so long, and he didn't bother to visit me even once. Every day he was out carousing with those bad friends. Why didn't I just die sooner? Mother Jiang wiped away her tears. I didn't want to keep bringing this up, but look at him. He dares to sit here like a completely innocent person, cold and selfish. Why did I give birth to a son like you? You were so obedient when you were little. How did you grow up to be such a bastard? Mother Jiang's accusations echoed in my ears. The dull ache in my heart grew heavier. My vision blurred with tears. My sight was distorted. The image of Mother Jiang and the mother in my dream overlapped, finally leaning down to kiss my cheek when I was small. Song Jinian was still adding fuel to the fire. Jiang Chen is still young, after all. He will change for the better, but it can be considered lucky. You only had a broken leg and ribs. Your internal organs weren't damaged. Otherwise, the consequences would be unthinkable. Before Song Jinian could finish his sentence, he suddenly choked on his words. A white shadow flashed before them, quickly pulling Mother Jiang into an embrace. Mother Jiang, who was wiping her tears, froze in her tracks. My voice carried a sob. "Mother." A look of emptiness passed over Mother Jiang's face. "Mother, I missed you so much." Mother Jiang was dazed for a long time. Before she finally found her voice again, it was extremely dry. "What do you want this time?" Mother Jiang's heart also throbbed with waves of pain. "I want you to live to be 100. Mother, you will be healthy. Mother, I will always need you." As soon as the words were spoken, 2 clear lines of tears streamed down Mother Jiang's cheeks. Song Jinian, standing nearby, had a sudden change of expression. A strange and ominous premonition struck the very next second. Mother Jiang could barely control herself. She reached out and gently patted my back, like a gentle and kind mother, tending to a child who had woken up startled in the middle of the night. Every movement was a mother's instinctive reaction, carrying both pity and heartache. Song Jinian's expression gradually grew heavy. He had lived in the Song family home for 5 years. It took that long to make this aunt of his finally take her eyes off her own biological son and shift her care toward him and trust him. But why did he only have to simply call out Mom? This woman's heart has already softened. I must be seeing things. Song Jinian pinched his finger hard. Amidst the sharp pain, he heard my sobbing voice. Mom, I've changed. From now on, I'll be your good son. Please don't abandon me, Mom. Mother Jiang was already drenched in tears. She instinctively pulled me into her arms and gently stroked my hair. A few steps away, Song Jinian's brow furrowed slightly. He stared at the scene before him in sheer shock. How can this be? Song Jinian felt a surge of frustration. He glanced in one direction. He caught the eye of a maid, pretending to wipe a vase nearby, occasionally stealing glances at them. They were whispering among themselves. It seems I'm not the only one who's surprised. Everyone in this villa hates me. Mother Jiang is only being temporarily deceived by him, just like all those times he admitted fault before. In a few days, he'll surely fall back into his old ways. He'll just keep causing trouble again. After all, I am vulgar and stupid. A person like me was born to be his foil. Song Jinian sneered inwardly, but on his face was an expression of sincere emotion. This is wonderful, Auntie. It's so good that you can forgive my younger brother. I'm truly happy that Jiang Chen has turned over a new leaf this time. He emphasized the words this time. Mother Jiang's raised hand froze in midair. Then it quickly dropped to her side. After all, this aunt of his knew deep down that I've apologized not 100 but at least 80 times. No matter how sincere the attitude, he'd revert to his old self soon enough and continue to break her heart. Song Jinian was about to add fuel to the fire when he heard a sound from behind. A familiar voice rang out. Jiang Chen Ruan Qingxues. Phoenix's eyes were brimming with smiles. Good morning, Auntie. While I turned my head, Mother Jiang stealthily wiped away her tears. Ruan Qingxue, why are you here? And you dyed your hair? Ruan Qingxue let out a soft laugh. She touched her hair a bit shyly. Her hair, which was black yesterday, had now been dyed a silvery white. The striking hair color accentuated her sharp mixed-race features, giving her a very strong exotic look, creating a powerful aura. Does it look good? The top goddess, hailed as the sole divine beauty of the past decade, had earlobes that were slightly flushed. She looked at me earnestly. That anime character you liked most as a kid, you said his hair color was so cool. I happened to see it on my phone yesterday. So I went to find a stylist to do my hair, Ruan Qingxue explained, watching me with a bit of caution, as if she were afraid I wouldn't be satisfied. Well, is this color pretty? The mission in my head lit up again. There was still one last quarter of a block to complete. I reached my hand out toward Ruan Qingxue, hoping to take the chance to stroke Ruan Qingxue's hair. Maybe that would count as a success and finish the final task. But as soon as I extended my arm, she pulled my fingers to touch the hairstyle she had just finished. I praised her. It's beautiful. Ruan Qingxue's ears turned even redder. I pretended to accidentally brush against her flushed earlobe. Ruan Qingxue's entire body stiffened. Villain points have been updated. The promiscuous villainous supporting male mission is complete. I looked at Ruan Qingxue and smiled happily. Suddenly, a beautiful hand reached between us, pushing us apart. I followed the arm. To Fu Yuqing. Those eyes stared at me silently. In her hand, she held a towel. Do you want to wipe your hands? The eldest young master has touched something filthy. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Ruan Qingxue, who had been beaming, narrowed her eyes slightly, gazing at this sudden, uninvited guest. She naturally knew who this was. Fu Yuqing, the poor student I sponsored, the one who had lived in my house since childhood. Ruan Qingxue curled her lip, flashing a contemptuous smile at Fu Yuqing. Then she intimately hooked her arm through mine. Jiang Chen, it seems you haven't introduced me to this person yet. This is Fu Yuqing, she's. Before I could finish, I was abruptly cut off. An incredibly beautiful face leaned in close, right up against mine. Ruan Qingxue's voice wasn't quiet. It was loud enough for everyone in the dining hall to hear clearly. Is she like me? Is she also a good friend of yours? Ruan Qingxue's melodious voice trailed off suggestively, leaving plenty of room for imagination. She let out another soft chuckle, as if she had suddenly realized something. Ah, could this classmate Fu Yuqing actually be your little canary? A faint chuckle rose from the group of servants not far away. Fu Yuqing's determined face remained calm, after being humiliated for so many years, and treated like a laughingstock by so many people. Even Fu Yuqing's strong pride had long since gone numb. Her heart held nothing but hatred and a deep-seated grudge. But the next second, my voice rang out. She is my friend. Fu Yuqing suddenly looked up. I smiled and explained. Her family situation wasn't good when she was little, and she didn't have parents. So my family sponsored her. Her grandmother's health isn't great. She even had knee surgery before. She can't do strenuous work. So we brought her to the Jiang house. She's a truly exceptional girl. Her grades are outstanding. Even the professors admire her. Her classmates all like her. With every word I spoke, Fu Yuqing's fingers tightened a bit more. Her dark eyes grew wider and wider. She stared at me, trying to find even a hint of hypocrisy on my face. But no matter how hard she tried, she could only see me with a sincere expression, praising her with sparkling eyes. Mother Jiang also looked at me in amazement. Could Jiang Chen really be saying these things? He can finally see the light in others, or perhaps this time he truly wants to change. Mother Jiang's heart was in a turmoil, as if it had been struck by something. She couldn't help but curl her lips. Her gaze turned gentle. The next second, her arm was suddenly grabbed. Song Jinian's voice whispered in her ear, "Auntie, the doctor is here. He's here to examine me." Mother Jiang nodded, but her eyes remained fixed on me. A flash of jealousy crossed Song Jinian's eyes. "Ah, that's right, Auntie. I noticed Xiao Qing's arm injury looks quite severe. Jiang Chen doesn't know his own strength. It would be bad if it left a scar. Why don't we have the doctor take a look at her too?" With that, Mother Jiang's gaze finally moved away from me. She looked at the exposed part of Fu Yuqing's arm. The slender, strong arm was covered in whip marks. The welts were swollen. It was a frightening sight. Mother Jiang's elegant brows furrowed. Song Jinian was finally satisfied. By the time Ruan Qingshui regained her composure, my praise for Fu Yuqing had shifted from, "She is pitiful," and "She is excellent," to "Her future will definitely be brilliant." Ruan Qingshui felt a sour taste in her mouth, and her heart felt just as bitter. When I finally finished my praise, Ruan Qingshui sourly replied, "Is that so?" She looked at me, her phoenix eyes glistening with unshed tears. "You defended her for so long. She called me filthy, and you didn't even care." "It's okay, Jiang Chen. I'm not feeling slighted. After all, I'm your childhood best friend." She glanced at Fu Yuqing and said with a smile, "I'm not like some women, who are narrow-minded and throw tantrums, only knowing how to hide behind a man's back. I'm thick-skinned. Even if someone scolds me 10 times, I won't take it to heart. I certainly wouldn't want to make things difficult for you." Jiang Chen. Ruan Qingshui pushed me toward the other side. "Look, you talked so much just now. Your throat must be dry. I've already prepared your favorite drink in the car." While Ruan Qingshui was rambling, I reached out my arms toward Mother Jiang and hugged her. Mother Jiang's movement stiffened slightly. "Mom, I'm going to study hard today. When I get home, can I have the reward of a home-cooked meal by you?" Mother Jiang's heart almost skipped a beat. She was overwhelmed by the unexpected affection. "You want to eat my cooking?" Mother Jiang's eyes lit up. Her voice trembled slightly. "Of course, what would you like to eat?" I grinned at her. "I love everything you cook, Mom, but tonight I really want your crispy roast goose." Mother Jiang was so moved she was flustered. "Okay, I'll go to the market right now." Mother Jiang rushed to the farm to pick a free-range goose. After calling the driver, she hurried away, without sparing a single glance at Song Jinian beside her. Song Jinian clenched his fists, glaring resentfully at Mother Jiang's departing back. The next second, a gaze fell upon him, making him feel like he had thorns in his back. Song Jinian slowly turned his head and saw me staring at him with a scrutinizing look. "Song Jinian, I know what you're plotting. Dare to touch my mother, and you're dead meat." Song Jinian's expression froze. His breathing became uneven, but since Ruan Qingshui and Fu Yuqing were still there, Song Jinian could only look at me with a weak expression. "Jiang Chen, I know you don't like me being close to Auntie, but I truly care for her too. Don't you have your own mother?" My voice was ice cold, laced with mockery. "Or is it just that whoever has money is your mother?" His petty schemes were suddenly exposed. Song Jinian's face turned pale. "Jiang Chen, you." His eyes darted around. He weakly clutched his chest. "Jiang Chen, I know you don't like me, but you can't slander me like this. You're always making Auntie angry. She's cried countless times, day and night. My heart aches for her too. I just wanted to be good to her in your stead." He looked toward Ruan Qingshui with pleading eyes. Seeing that Ruan Qingshui was ignoring him, Song Jinian shifted his gaze to Fu Yuqing. Fu Yuqing had been bullied by me for so many years. She would surely understand him. Seeing him being bullied would definitely awaken her hatred and make her take a cruel revenge on me. Ideally, she'd just stab him to death. Song Jinian thought with a heart full of malice. Sure enough, Fu Yuqing was looking at me pensively. Her gaze was dark. Fu Yuqing looked down and sneered, ugly and noisy, intending to take me out today. Ruan Qingshui drove a Porsche 911. Ruan Qingshui took a few steps toward her car. She opened the passenger door and patted the seat. "Jiang Chen, you sit here. And you." I turned around. Suddenly, I felt myself bump into something, accompanied by Fu Yuqing's sharp intake of breath. Looking closer, the scar on the back of Fu Yuqing's hand was bleeding. Before I could even speak, I saw Fu Yuqing's expression remain unchanged. She covered the back of her hand and said calmly, "I know how to drive. I can follow behind you. I'll pick the young master up after class." I object. You're already injured. No more driving. Get in the car too. Fu Yuqing hesitated for a moment. Ruan Qingshui commented with a cold laugh. Fox spirit. I didn't hear clearly what Ruan Qingshui said, because Fu Yuqing's voice rose again. The two voices overlapped. My injury is fine. I'm used to it. As soon as she said used to it, I immediately remembered who had done those bad things, and I started to feel guilty again. No driving today. Wait until the wound heals. I reached back and pulled Fu Yuqing. The thin woman was stunned. There was a fragility to her, almost pale. Fu Yuqing carried my backpack. Her eyes beneath her bangs were a bit melancholic. She seemed to hesitate. I get carsick. Young master. That's easy. You sit in the front seat. Fu Yuqing nodded. She walked straight to the passenger seat and looked toward Ruan Qingshui. Sorry for the trouble, Ms. Ruan. Ruan Qingshui clenched her fists. Damn White Lotus, damn green tea bitch. Ruan Qingshui held the car door with one hand. Her voice was squeezed through her teeth. It's no trouble. It's strange, really. It was fine when we came out just now. Ruan Qingshui looked at her and laughed. What a coincidence, don't you think? As soon as the car was mentioned, the wound reopened. Classmate Fu, you didn't do that on purpose, did you? Fu Yuqing lowered her eyes upon hearing this. She tilted her head to look at me. She was naturally slender, with black hair and red lips, looking at others so submissively with her head bowed. It was easy to make people feel pity for her. She didn't answer Ruan Qingshui's question directly. She only gazed at me quietly with those eyes. She asked softly, Do you think of me that way too? Young master, with such a low voice, combined with those downcast eyes, and her cold, pale, fragile-looking cheeks, she looked like a poor victim being bullied. I poked my head out from the back seat, looked at Fu Yuqing, then looked at Ruan Qingshui, judging fairly. All right, Ruan Qingshui, don't bully her anymore. I'm bullying her? Ruan Qingshui felt like she was being forced to swallow a bitter pill. She frowned slightly, wishing she could wipe my eyes clear herself. She pointed at Fu Yuqing and spoke at high speed. Can't you see she's a total green tea bitch? Jiang Chen, it was fine when we came out just now. Just a few steps and she's bleeding. Besides, she didn't get hurt sooner or later. She waited until I mentioned driving to get hurt. She's doing it on purpose. It's all my fault. Fu Yuqing's slightly raspy voice rose as she looked at me, taking all the blame upon herself. It's entirely my fault. Young master, I used the wrong hand to grab the bag. That's how the wound opened. It's because I wasn't careful enough. That made Ms. Ruan unhappy, and even made her angry at you. Her voice sounded cautious. Ruan Qingshui was so angry she was about to laugh. Fu Yuqing, you're really something. Ruan Qingshui grit her teeth. She turned and opened the driver's door, swung her long legs in and sat down. Before she even buckled her seatbelt, she turned back to explain to me in the rear, Jiang Chen, don't let her drive a wedge between us. How could I ever bear to be angry at you? She just doesn't want to see us happy. She's intentionally trying to divide us. The supercar sped across half the city, stopping smoothly in front of the university gates. As soon as Ruan Qingshui's car stopped, it drew the attention of quite a few people. Numerous phones were raised, some even started filming. The driver and passenger doors opened almost simultaneously. Two pairs of long legs stepped out. Isn't that my Shui Bao? She dyed her hair silver. That face is just top tier. Who's that on the other side? A newcomer in entertainment? Does anyone know?
One handsome face followed another. This 8 a.m. class is truly a visual feast. Is there another person? I wore sunglasses to cover half of my handsome face. You're really something, Ruan Qingshui. If I'd known you were stopping here, Fu Yuqing and I would have gotten out earlier. Ruan Qingshui beamed even more brightly upon hearing that. It doesn't matter. Jiang Chen, since you're being photographed, let's just take this chance to go public. Do you want to join a reality show? Or should we take off the sunglasses now and use this world-shaking face of yours to go negotiate for some major resources? I pushed my sunglasses up after hearing that to make sure they were securely on. Whispers echoed through the crowd. I ran faster than a dog. Ruan Qingshui wanted to follow me, but her star power was too great. She was quickly recognized and surrounded by fans. Some asked for her autograph. Others were screaming her name. Some asked in surprise if she was filming at the school, and if the boy who just entered was the male lead. Ruan Qingshui held a pen, signing autographs with graceful flourishes. She only paused slightly when she heard the last question. Her thin, rosy lips curled into a smile. It's not for a movie. She looked toward the direction where someone's figure had disappeared, and admitted with a smile, but he certainly is the male lead of my life. Since I'm still chasing him, I'd like to ask everyone to help me keep it a secret. This morning's class was a general education course. I entered the classroom first. Fu Yuqing followed closely behind. I found a seat and sat down. I heard voices in the classroom, discussing Ruan Qingshui's filming. I cast a curious glance in that direction, and received several discreet glares, along with some malicious complaints. Hilarious. He's such a clout chaser, deliberately dressing just like her. Well, his family has money. He can wear whatever he wants. Gross. On one hand, he spreads rumors about Ruan Qingshui online, intentionally slandering her. On the other, he mimics Ruan Qingshui's boyfriend's clothes. Is someone acting out a script like this? Really not afraid of a mental breakdown? Could it be that he acts like he hates her to destroy her, but is actually a longtime stalker fan? How pathetic. Everyone knows that in Shuibao's heart. There's only her handsome childhood friend. Shuibao is so pitiful. Her childhood friend died young. Our girl lives like a widow every single day. I listened for a while without blinking or flushing, completely unaware that I was the one being cursed at. But after hearing the last sentence, I suddenly turned to look at Fu Yuqing. Ruan Qingshui, is she going around telling everyone I'm dead? Fu Yuqing had just taken out her laptop. She was caught off guard by my gaze. Her heart skipped a beat. I'm not sure, young master. I don't follow celebrities. Fu Yuqing bit her lip. Young master, what you feel for Ruan. Zhang Chen, you're here early today. We thought you were going to skip class again. Several voices called out, interrupting Fu Yuqing's words. Fu Yuqing looked toward the source of the noise. Her dark eyes suddenly filled with a chilling coldness. I turned my head as well. 2 girls and a boy were approaching. The 3 of them didn't hold back. They walked straight to the row behind me and started complaining. Why are you sitting in the front today? Zhang Chen, you were so cold last night. You haven't climbed so high that you don't want to hang out with us friends anymore, right? I haven't eaten breakfast. The girl in the leather jacket kicked Fu Yuqing's chair and said condescendingly, You, go buy breakfast for me. Me too. I want wontons from that usual shop. No cilantro, no dried shrimp, no eggshells. And run back quickly when you're done. It's cold out. Take off your jacket and wrap our food in it. Don't let it get cold. Understanding what he said was a matter of course, looking at Fu Yuqing as if looking at a dog. There wasn't a single ripple in Fu Yuqing's eyes. The hand resting on the notebook paused, and in the next second, a warm hand was placed on the back of her hand. I looked at the 3 people in the back row, saying in a calm voice, She's not going. She won't be going in the future either. My voice was very cold. Fu Yuqing's eyelids trembled slightly. Zhang Chen, why are you so grumpy today? You didn't get bullied by the eldest miss, did you? If Xia Xiao really breaks the engagement with you, your reputation in this circle will be completely ruined. The girl with purple hair filed her nails while chiming in. Her tone was incredibly sour. I already said so. A family like the Xia family, how could they possibly value you? A girl's sharp scream suddenly rang out, echoing through the large lecture hall. The purple-haired girl was seen trembling, her hands clutching her scalp tightly. Bright red blood seeped through her fingers. Fu Yuqing stood behind her, her arms slightly bent, holding a blood-stained piece of wood. Her thin lips pressed into a curve, carrying a sense of coldness. Amidst the curses of the snarling purple-haired girl, Fu Yuqing still didn't say a word. Quietly standing behind me like a statue. You Fu girl, do you know who my uncle is? You dare to hit me? You're finished. I'm going to kill you. Fu Yuqing is really going too far. The guy in the sweater said, trembling. He seemingly didn't expect Fu Yuqing to be so ruthless. But when his gaze shifted back to me, his tone turned reproachful. No way, Zhang Chen. You're actually just sitting there? You can't even control a dog. Hurry up and make her kneel down and apologize to Kelly. The girl with curly hair also frowned. Zhang Chen, you let someone like Fu Yuqing hit Kelly? What is her status, and what is ours? Isn't this a direct slap to our faces? She must kneel and apologize. Kowtow 100 times, not one less. The people around them were whispering, Why is Fu Yuqing so obedient to Zhang Chen? She doesn't know how to resist at all. Fu Yuqing has been sponsored by the Zhang family since she was young. I heard that before the college entrance exam scores even came out, Tsinghua and Peking University were already calling her, but Jiang Chen forced her to enroll in his school. Jiang Chen is a coward. He'll definitely whip Fu Yuqing later and make her apologize to this group of friends. The surrounding gossip seemed to give Shu Kaili strength. Even though she was clutching her head, she still acted all high and mighty. She craned her neck and ordered Fu Yuqing, I told you to kneel down for me. As soon as she finished speaking, a light chuckle echoed in the air. The corners of my lips curled up, my arm propped up on the table, blocking the way in front of Fu Yuqing. You insult me and then want my person to kneel and apologize to you? Hearing the words my person, Fu Yuqing's heart seemed to skip a beat, as if suddenly held back by something soft. Shu Kaili felt completely humiliated. Gritting her teeth, she said, Jiang Chen, what are you pretending for? You don't actually think you're the Xia family's son-in-law, do you? An idiot like you with a brain kicked by a donkey? No one would want you even for free. The eldest miss hates you to death. She didn't even show up for the engagement ceremony. Did you think we wouldn't know? Let me tell you, after you've humiliated me like this today, it'll absolutely never let you have a moment's peace. Slap a crisp sound of a slap, cut off Xu careless cursing. I shook my hand, speaking in a calm voice. Isn't your mouth very foul? Keep talking. An eerie silence filled the air. Eyes watching for entertainment were everywhere. Shu Kaili clutched her cheek where my handprint lingered, both ashamed and furious. Her whole face turned beet red. Shu Kylie's gaze swept toward the door and she immediately burst into tears. Dean, I realized something. Immediately turning around, only to unexpectedly see a tall, cold figure standing at the door. My pupils dilated slightly. Su Wanru, why is she here? Haha, Miss Su, what a surprise, what a surprise. Along with a simple-sounding voice, I finally noticed that next to Su Wanru, there was also a pot-bellied man following her. His expression was somewhat awkward as he wiped the sweat from his forehead. The quality of our school students is very high, but young people are full of energy and easily impulsive. Exchanges of words might lead to some conflict. It won't affect your class. He'll handle it immediately. What's going on? The woman's deep, cold voice echoed in the classroom. Her voice was neither fast nor slow, carrying a heavy sense of oppression, especially when her gaze swept across. I met Su Wanrou's eyes, feeling unaccountably guilty. Jiang Chen, it's you again. The pot-bellied man glanced over, immediately guessing 80 or 90% of the story. He stepped forward a few paces and said, "Call your homeroom teacher here. Also call your parents to come. Follow me to the office. And this injured student, go to the school infirmary to get the wound treated first." The dean hurriedly gave a few instructions, then turned back with a bright smile. "Miss Su, you may begin your lecture. I'll take care of these students' matters." After speaking, he glared at me again. "What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and go." I secretly peeked at Su Wanru, only to catch those narrow, long phoenix eyes. I lowered my head, obediently following behind the dean, toward the door where Su Wanru was standing. Shu Kylie stopped her cursing too, making pained sounds and acting pitiful. While exchanging glances with the other two, she glared aggressively at me. In the next second, I suddenly stopped, my eyes curving as I smiled at Su Wanru. Young Ant, this cry of young Ant was earth-shattering. The dean walking ahead turned around blankly, looking a bit confused. Shu Kylie, following behind, was like she'd been struck by lightning, her pupils widening. Only Su Wanru, called Young Ant, looked at me with a half-smile. At the moment our eyes met, I discreetly sent her a look for help. "Miss Su." The dean's voice was a bit hesitant. "Are you and student Jiang actually related?" The woman raised her eyebrows into a curve, not answering directly. Instead, the corners of her lips curled slightly as she reached out a hand toward me. "Come here, nephew." With a stiff scalp, I stepped forward a few paces. Su Wanru's voice was still cold, but I could hear the teasing in it. "We are related. After all, our Jiang Chen even uses his first birthday wish every year to pray for my safety." Su Wanru's commanding gaze fell upon me. Her smiling tone lingered a bit, word for word. "Good boy." On the way to the office, I clearly felt the dean like a deflated balloon, his firm attitude gradually collapsing. The dean poured tea for Su Wanru, then hurried out to answer a call. I sat on the outermost chair drinking tea. Fu Yuqing stood right beside me, not saying a word, as she used a tissue to carefully wipe the water from my fingertips. Su Wanru narrowed her eyes, her tone calm. "You can leave now." Hearing this, my eyes lit up. "Really?" Su Wanru's gaze swept past me, stopping on Fu Yuqing. In the moment their eyes met, Fu Yuqing, neither arrogant nor humble, looked down at me. "Young master, do you need me?" The bell for class had already rung outside. I patted her arm. "Xiaoqing, you must study hard." Fu Yuqing was silent for a moment, her raspy voice echoing in the air. "I hit someone. I should take responsibility." "What responsibility are you talking about?" Clearly, they were the ones who spoke rudely first. They were the ones who insulted us first. "Don't worry, I will protect you." Fu Yuqing, who was usually silent, finally smiled. She was already very beautiful, and with a smile appearing on her pale, melancholy face, there was a gentleness like thin ice melting. "Thank you, young master." With a click, Fu Yuqing's footsteps vanished as the door closed. I turned my head, facing Su Wanru's gaze. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Being stared at by her gave me the chills. "Su Wanru, you're not planning to not help me, are you?" Su Wanru placed her hand on the table, her fingers tapping lightly twice. Her cold voice didn't change one bit. "When did I say I would help you?" I immediately widened my eyes. "But just now, in front of the dean, you said we were related. You even admitted I'm your little nephew." Su Wanru looked at me with a half-smile. "Then consider it my mistake. The Su family's descendants are always obedient in front of me. No one has ever dared to flirt in front of me. I don't have the kind of nephew who, right after confessing, goes and falls in love with someone else." This kind of nonsense she was spouting left me feeling a bit confused. "Su Wanru, I'm not in a relationship. She's a classmate I'm sponsoring. Her family background isn't good, so she's been at our house since a very early age." Su Wanru took a sip of tea, her tone calm. "Then why were you two making eyes at each other?" "All that you protect me, I protect you stuff." I blinked, understanding immediately. Su Wanru was definitely feeling uncomfortable. For a favored daughter of heaven like her, it was only her place to look down on others. How could she let someone else dump her first? Surely my actions just now had hurt her pride, which is why she was being so sharp-tongued. I slowly reached out my hand, tugging at Su Wanru's sleeve, and in the next second, Su Wanru's cold voice rang out again. "What?"
Planning to use sugar-coated bullets again? Planning to say more sweet words to deceive me? Do you think I'm the kind of stupid woman who, with just a few words, can be enchanted into losing her sense of direction? In the next second, I lifted her face with both hands, saying with a smile, "Su-Wanru, you're not jealous, are you?" As I spoke, my eyes sparkled. My warm, moist breath brushed against Su-Wanru's thin lips. The action was excessively suggestive. Even our breaths were mingling. Su-Wanru unaccountably felt a bit thirsty. Her gaze, fixed on my lips, grew increasingly burning. "So you really get jealous like this?" The man's voice hovered in the air, but Su-Wanru felt like she couldn't hear clearly. Su-Wanru heard clearly what I was saying, but was a bit unwilling to understand. She just wanted to kiss me. The moment that thought appeared in her mind, Su-Wanru's dark gaze fixed on my lips, repeating the words I'd just said. "What jealousy?" I looked at her with a bright smile. "Does someone like Miss Su also know how to pretend not to understand?" My heart thumped, my heartbeat suddenly becoming erratic. Su-Wanru swallowed hard. Her dark gaze looked as if it wanted to swallow the person in front of her whole. The phone vibrated twice. Su-Wanru didn't intend to answer this mood-killing call, but in the next second, her gaze swept past the name flashing on the screen, and she suddenly changed her mind. She picked up the call, then casually turned on the speakerphone. "Xiao, is something the matter?" At the mention of Xiao, I immediately became well-behaved. Xiao's voice came from the other end of the line. "Wanru, have you seen Jiang Chen at a university?" Su-Wanru stared at me with a half-smile. A chill ran down my neck, as I had an ominous premonition. In the next second, her cold little hand slipped inside my shirt. Stimulated, I let out a soft groan. "What was that sound on your end?" The two voices from inside and outside the phone intertwined. I didn't even dare to move. It was that bizarre feeling of being caught in the act again. The famous eldest miss, my fiancé. Why does she always seek me out at times like this? Nothing. Just a little kitten. Su-Wanru's voice carried suppressed laughter as she caressed my abs, casually commenting, "The kittens at school are very well fed. It's just that its temper is a bit bad. It likes to scratch people." Xiao was silent for a second on the other end. This discordant silence made my heart skip a beat. I stared warily at Su-Wanru's phone. Why isn't Xiao saying anything? She couldn't have guessed, right? But very quickly, Xiao's voice rang out again from the other end, carrying a certain naturalness, exactly like usual. "Stray cats? Stray cats are the filthiest. Better to go get a shot quickly so you don't catch any infectious diseases." The smile in Su-Wanru's eyes didn't fade. "It's a handsome little kitten pampered by others. It's so adorable, they've decided to steal it away." Xiao was silent for another moment. Su-Wanru laughed and changed the subject. "I'm at a university. Is there anything you need my help with?" Jiang Chen had a conflict with a classmate. "I'm afraid he might be bullied. Since you're at a university, I kept feeling that Xiao's tone right now was strange, but I couldn't figure out exactly where it was strange. Since you're here, help me keep an eye on Jiang Chen for a bit. There's a meeting in 20 minutes. I have to be there, so I can't come over for the time being." Su-Wanru chuckled. "All right." Her voice changed as she looked at me, feeling guilty, with a beaming smile. Her phoenix eyes glittered with light. "But it seems I've already seen him. Xiao, want to talk to your fiancé?" My pupils contracted in surprise, as I hurriedly waved my hands. But Su-Wanru acted as if she didn't understand, casually tossing the phone onto the table, then looked at me with that half-smile again. She leaned down slightly, whispering into my ear, "It's your fiancé's call. Won't you say hello?" I gave her a glare. Within Su-Wanru's heart rose a certain wicked emotion. "Weren't you afraid of your guardian being called?" Coincidentally, your worthless fiancée is eagerly presenting herself at the door. Jiang Chen is so adorable, perhaps with just a soft call of wife, some woman would probably be so infatuated that she'd ignore even that urgent meeting. My ears couldn't help but heat up. My heart stirred slightly as I peeked at the screen. Before I could say anything, Su-Wanru's expression changed as she leaned down and covered my mouth with her hand. Su-Wanru, with a stone-cold face, spoke calmly to the person on the other end. "I saw wrong. It's not Jiang Chen. I'll handle this matter." She hung up. Her expression wasn't exactly ugly, but I clearly sensed danger. An oppressive aura spread all around. I immediately looked up, ready to bolt. But in the next second, the woman slammed the door shut. "Don't run." The sweet scent of roses brushed against my face. I was stunned, improvising as I said, "Young Aunt, Su-Wanru, Sister Wanru." 3 different titles in a row, as expected, made the woman in front of me frown slightly. Encouraged, I called out with more confidence, my tone lingering even more. "Sister?" The pupils of that noble woman suddenly contracted. I added fuel to the fire. "Are you really angry, sister? Don't look at me with such a cold face, sister. I'm really a bit scared. Please don't abandon me, sister." The more I called out, the more I acted spoiled. The woman, whose waist I was hugging, didn't move at all. Everything around us became a blur. I only have you, sister, you know that. You are my first love. You're the first person I ever liked. You're my white moonlight. You're very special. Your meaning to me is unlike any other woman. My wife can't just leave me like this. Sister, please help me. When the dean knocked on the office door again, it was more than 10 minutes later. I was still sitting on the chair drinking tea, looking like a dead pig that's not afraid of boiling water. As an educator with years of experience, the dean was very familiar with this expression. A difficult, misbehaving student, once they find a backer, will exhibit the state of being rotten wood that cannot be carved. The dean's gaze swept over me, then stopped on my great backer. Miss Sue, the dean tried calling her. She was still in a daze. For someone as intelligent as Miss Sue to actually have a moment like a tiger dozing off. The dean was slightly surprised, calling out again, Miss Sue, Student Xu's guardian has arrived. Since you are Student Jiang's guardian, is it convenient for you to meet them? Let's mediate a bit so the two students can shake hands and make up. As soon as he finished speaking, Su Wanru finally lowered her eyes. Shaking hands won't be necessary. The dean worked quickly. Not long after, a woman led Shu Kaili inside. She seemed to have rushed over with a flattering look on her face. Miss Su, this is all a misunderstanding. But rest assured, I've already taught this child a lesson. The woman reached out, pulling Shu Kaili out from behind her. After not seeing her for just a short while, Shu Kaili looked even more pitiful. A gauze bandage was wrapped around her head, a handprint lingered on her left cheek, and her right cheek was swollen. I clearly only slapped her once. Shu Kaili isn't planning to play the victim, is she? I narrowed my eyes and glanced over, seeing the woman who was pulling Shu Kaili, smiling apologetically at me. Mr. Jiang, Kaili said things she shouldn't have. She truly deserved to be hit. I've already given this child a beating, so please rest easy. When we get home, I'll make her kneel and write an apology letter to you. Shu Kaili felt a bit indignant, but she didn't dare to protest. She could only swallow her dissatisfaction. Looking at Shu Kaili with her swollen cheeks, I looked straight at her, like a fox borrowing the tiger's majesty. Forget the apology letter. After all, Shu Kaili's mouth is just cheap. The woman was incredibly grateful, as if my words were a grand favor. Mr. Jiang is so generous, but it's true our family discipline isn't strict, and we haven't raised our children well. The woman's voice wavered as she looked towards Su Wanru, who still hadn't spoken. It's just, I don't know if it's convenient for you, Mr. Jiang, but I'd like to invite you and Miss Su for a casual dinner to express our apologies. She spoke those words very tactfully, but in his heart, the dean clicked his tongue twice. Su Wanru's indifferent eyes finally landed on her. It's not convenient. The woman gave a small smile, not at all embarrassed, and immediately continued. Then our Xu family's apology gifts will definitely be delivered to your home on time. She hesitated for a moment, as if testing the waters. It's just, I don't know when you would be free, Mr. Jiang. Do you have time today? My eyelid twitched as I quickly reacted, pointing at Su Wanru. Send them to her place. Su Wanru's gaze swept over. I smiled at her, my eyes curving. Young Aunt can represent me. Young Aunt's home is my home too. Are you joking? If the Xu family's apology gifts are sent to my house tonight, wouldn't today's events be exposed immediately? With Su Wanru here, everything was handled very smoothly. The middle-aged woman led Shu Kaili away in gratitude. I turned to look at Su Wanru standing beside me, then looked back at the lecture hall. Then I'm going to class. Su Wanru looked at me. Then, amidst my bewildered gaze, she gently touched my cheek. I'll wait for you to finish class. I stumbled in my steps. Don't you have work, Su Wanru? Are you wasting your time on me? The woman's lips curled up. Her voice became much softer. As your elder sister, I also have an obligation to have lunch with my boyfriend. In the important choices of life, I have always known my priorities. A question mark slowly appeared in my mind. Weren't all my actions, in the eyes of the protagonist harem, supposed to be shameful? Extremely disgusting? Making them feel dirty just to glance at me? What is going on here? So I used my status as Xia Xiao's fiancé to harass Su Wanru, and suddenly I gained a wife? But as if realizing my thoughts, the next second, those deep eyes looked over. Or should I say, just now in the office, Jiang Chen was just lying to me. Actually, you're just a smooth talker, two-faced and unfaithful, a little liar who likes to play with people's feelings. With every word she spoke, the hint of a smile in her eyes faded a bit. Her cold phoenix eyes swirled with danger. I just felt the pressure skyrocket. As if the moment I shook my head, Su Wanru would make me go offline forever. I gave a sudden start. Hurriedly shaking my head, I obediently agreed with her. That's right, a girlfriend should have lunch with me. If I dared to deny it, Su Wanru, with that cryptic smile, could choke me to death. But if the fact that I'm dating Su Wanru is found out by Xia Xiao, I'm afraid Xia Xiao will also choke me to death. In this life where I'm squeezed from both sides. I looked at Su Wanru and began my deception. But you know my situation right now. I hesitated, and taking advantage of the fact no one was around, I secretly held Su Wanru's hand. Girlfriend, I have a fiancé. You know that, right? I racked my brains, pretending to be concerned, while letting out a soft sigh. The engagement was an accident, very sudden. The Exia family doesn't like me. Besides, I finally realized where my heart lies. You are my white moonlight. I want to be with you. I will definitely break off the engagement with Xia Xiao. I blinked my eyes, my fingertips gently scratching Su Wanru's palm. I know you are very capable. You can help me handle everything smoothly. But you and Xia Xiao are close sisters. I don't want the two of you to have conflicts or turn into enemies. Can you leave it to me to handle? Girlfriend, I will handle it properly. I will also speak clearly with my mother. It's just that I have to let you suffer a bit, dating me in secret for a while. I lifted my handsome face. You will respect my wishes, right? Wife. At the end of the bluestone path, behind the canopy of trees, a familiar voice rang out, carrying a hint of casual teasing. Is this your little stray cat? Su Wanru didn't look up. While using a fallen ginkgo leaf to tease the kitten, she asked nonchalantly, Wasn't there an urgent meeting? You're here so soon. The woman with noble and elegant eyes raised her lashes, looking at Xia Xiao with a cryptic smile. Knowing she had a guilty conscience and having her inner thoughts exposed, Xia Xiao wasn't embarrassed. She reached out to brush aside the obscuring branches and walked over leisurely. Just then, Su Wanru's assistant ran back. Xia Xiao asked him for a sausage, her nimble fingers peeling it open, holding it to the kitten's mouth. The kitten seemed a bit afraid of her, not even daring to take a bite of the sausage. Xia Xiao simply pulled the sausage back and said with a smile, I heard some noise when I called you. I was a bit worried. Xia Xiao's voice paused for a moment. She stared intently at Su Wanru. Su Wanru also looked at her, as if she found it amusing. Worried about what? Xia Xiao narrowed her eyes, a faint smile on her face. She couldn't pinpoint exactly what was wrong. It seemed to be because of a man's presence, or perhaps Su Wanru's attitude was unusual. She just didn't hear it clearly, so she didn't pay much attention, until a sophisticated person like Su Wanru hurriedly hung up the phone. Only then did Xia Xiao wake up from her daze and feel that something wasn't right. She knew her young fiancé wasn't the type Su Wanru usually liked, but the situation couldn't help but make her overthink. Xia Xiao still felt it was illogical. She stared intently at Su Wanru. Su Wanru's expression showed no flaws, but she always felt an indescribable strangeness. Their gazes met in the air, sparks of scrutiny and suspicion flickering. Even the tabby cat bristled its tail, looking at them both with a vigilant expression, about to run away. Xia Xiao looked at her friend of many years, the corners of her mouth twitching. Only her smile didn't reach her eyes. Su Wanru, stay away from him. The smile in Su Wanru's eyes faded, the corners of her mouth carrying a hint of sarcasm. Less than half an hour ago, you called to ask me to take care of your little fiancé. You didn't say anything about staying away from him then. The confrontational atmosphere between them suddenly relaxed. Xia Xiao also felt she was slightly in the wrong, or perhaps she was being too suspicious. She was hesitating whether to say an apology when she heard Su Wanru's deep, cold voice ring out. Xia Xiao, you really should have come a bit earlier today. Even just 2 minutes earlier? A look of mockery flashed in Su Wanru's eyes. The cat at her feet meowed loudly. Xia Xiao's tone softened, an apologetic smile on her face. Sorry, I have to thank you for Jiang Chen's matter today, but I'm not in a good state. A bit stressed. You know how it is, Wanru. There are misunderstandings between me and Jiang Chen. Chances to build our relationship are few, but he's really too handsome. Countless people are trying to steal him from me. That bitch ruined King Shui. Last night, she even followed Jiang Chen into the restroom. She was probably confessing her love to him. Su Wanru's movement of feeding the cat stiffened. Xia Xiao didn't notice her abnormality, instead letting out a long breath, sighing and complaining. I didn't expect women nowadays to be so shameless. Jiang Chen is clearly already engaged to me, yet some are still eager to destroy our marriage. And that damn poor girl, that student isn't any good either. But luckily, Jiang Chen doesn't like her. A gleam flashed in Su Wanru's eyes, as if explaining nonchalantly, is that so? His classmate's fight today was exactly because of Fu Yu King. Xia Xiao's expression froze. What? Su Wanru gave a cryptic half-smile. The people who want to steal from you might be more than you think. Beside her, the look on Xia Xiao's face changed. Only after a while did she give a cold snort. Jiang Chen is so adorable. It's normal for anyone to like him. Su Wanru said nothing. Xia Xiao was silent for 2 seconds, then couldn't help herself. Is Jiang Chen very close to her? I'm not too sure either. After all, he's your fiancé. Xia Xiao's face darkened. Su Wanru looked at her expression, smiling cryptically. I was standing far away and didn't hear clearly, so I can't be sure. But even if young Master Jiang wants to protect her, it's only normal. They've known each other for years after all. Their bond must run deep. Xia Xiao's beautiful face turned even darker. Su Wanru, having finished adding fuel to the fire, curled her lips. She spoke nonchalantly. But are you really not planning to call off the engagement? The two of you don't match. After Su Wanru made her comment, Xia Xiao stood up along with her. I know you all see a huge gap between the Zhang and Xia families. Our first meeting wasn't very pleasant. The engagement was a complete mess too, but I truly liked Jiang Chen. Su Wanru glanced at her. Xia Xiao gave a short laugh, her words carrying a certain level of certainty. Beautiful feelings are destined to face many obstacles, but I am the one engaged to him. Ultimately, I'm different from those wild women outside, be they childhood friends or little shadows. He's just playing around for a bit of novelty. Snap. Su Wanru expressionlessly snapped the branch in her hand. The more Xia Xiao spoke, the more bitter she felt inside. Yet she had to restrain herself in front of her best friend, only able to pretend to be generous. Besides, he's so many years younger than me. I can't cherish him enough. I certainly won't because of these shameless women outside have a conflict with him. So even if it's a first love or some white moonlight, they all have to line up behind me. With that said, Xia Xiao looked at Su Wanru as if seeking her agreement. Right? Su Wanru gritted her teeth, smiling without mirth. Yes, they all line up behind you. The cat clinging to Su Wanru meowed twice, looking back with every 3 steps, then ran off towards the other side. Xia Xiao crossed her arms over her chest, glancing at the fleeing cat. Your little stray cat ran after someone else. Weren't you going to take it home? If you don't chase it, it'll really be gone. The little tabby cat crossed through the flower bushes, meowing softly. It began to circle around someone it knew. That person also leaned down, searching their pocket for cat treats. Is there even a kitten that Miss Su can't feed enough? Xia Xiao teased. The little stray cat ran after someone else. Su Wanru's red lips curled into a smile. How can you be so sure it isn't just playing with them? Xia Xiao felt Su Wanru was being a bit strange today. Xia Xiao curled her lip, suddenly changing the subject. Why did you suddenly come to university today? As soon as Xia Xiao finished speaking, she saw the smile on Su Wanru's lips deepen a bit, as if she had been waiting for her to ask, or as if she had prepared the answer for this question long ago. For my boyfriend. Xia Xiao was stunned. What? Others might not know, but she knew better than anyone. Su Wanru is 29 years old this year. Xia Xiao has witnessed 27 years of her life. Su Wanru has had absolutely nothing to do with the word man. Xia Xiao found it fascinating, almost bursting out into laughter. Your boyfriend? Your younger brother's boyfriend? Su Wanru looked at her calmly. He's mine. Could he be yours? Is he also a student at this university? What year? What major? Xia Xiao had an excited expression. Su Wanru said nonchalantly, It's not convenient for him. Xia Xiao's narrow fox-like eyes with their dark pupils carried a hint of doubt. It's not even convenient to reveal a bit of information? Xia Xiao's lazy tone carried a hint of scrutiny. Is he someone who can't be seen in public? Wanru, are you actually in love or are you acting as someone's mistress?